What's up, movie nerds and basketball geeks? Welcome back to MovieBall. Thanks for stopping by. It's good to see you. How are you doing? Let's stop before this gets weird. Today's episode will be the fourth and final installment of my conference standings predictions, and in this video I'll be tackling the Western Conference, the seeds 8 through 1, aka the teams that I think will make the playoffs. So let's just jump right in. Coming in at the bottom of the playoffs in the number 8 seed, I have the Dallas Mavericks. This might be pushing it for a lot of people that would rather see the Kings or the Spurs in this spot, but for me, I just think that Luka Doncic is the next coming of Jesus Christ. He is going to be filthy good, and they won 33 games last year. Adding Kristaps Porzingis to this team, I don't see why they can't win around like 12 more games or so to get them into that final spot of the playoffs. I mean, if he can stay on the court, this is a young duo that will be scary for many years. The Mavericks are actually pretty deep, at least in the way that they have multiple options at each position. Their point guard depth is solid, and all in the way that they won't be competing for the ball with Luka. The same goes for their shooting guards, and their center and front court rotation kind of does leave something to be desired, but they should be in good shape. The good. Rick Carlisle is a great coach, and there is a very good lineup of role players around the two stars of this team. I think it works out well enough, barring injuries, that the Mavericks can slip into the postseason. The bad. KP might be rested a lot because he's not fully 100,000% healthy yet. They want to take it easy. They want to be cautious. They're going to rest him a lot. That leaves a lot of the load to be carried by Luka Doncic, and he's obviously he can do it. It's just that, if these two aren't playing at the very high level that they can play at, it might be, like I said, there's very great role players for this team, but to lean on them to win a lot of games, that's not good news. At number 7, I've got the Utah Jazz. This might piss a lot of people off, and I understand. It's very hard when you get to this portion of the rankings and, the playoff seeds. All these teams in the West are so good. They're all very stacked. It's just hard to really accurately get it right. With that being said, I do think there are 6 better teams in the West, at least in terms of finishing in the regular season, and I have the Jazz 7th. The Jazz are a really good team, and I'm fully aware that a lot of people expect them to contend this season. I'm just not so sure that I have the faith in them that others do. Like I said, I think there's teams that are better than them. It's very hard in the West. It's hard to predict where these teams will all fall. Let's check it out. The team has obviously upgraded their roster almost perfectly. Mike Conley is a huge step up from Rubio as a better shooter, scorer, defender, and doesn't need the ball to make an impact. Bogdanović was a near 20-point-per-game scorer that will give this team more shooting alongside Mitchell. And Jeff Green is a good backup veteran presence as well as Ed Davis. They're a pretty complete team. I'm just not so sure if they can get past these other juggernaut teams. They have a great defense and now a really good offense to pair with it, but I just don't see them matching that level of other teams in the West with that elite talent that they have, unless Mitchell is able to flourish into even more of a superstar this season. The good. Like I said, they upgraded the positions that they needed and got more depth as well. They're going to be great. The question is just how great next to these other teams in the West. The bad is that I don't really know what they're going to do with Joe Ingles. I'm pretty sure they want to play him at the 4, and I'm not too high on that because he is a good two-way role player, but guarding the 4, there's a lot of really just, bigger power forwards and more athletic, and that could be a struggle for him because he's a little smaller. Maybe they'll play him at the 3, have him come off the bench, split minutes. I don't know what they're going to do. Finishing in 6th place, I have the Portland Trailblazers. This is a team that I seem to count out every year, and every year they just do better than what I previously thought. They never seem to drastically switch up their roster, even when everyone claims that they have to, and they generally wind up being pretty successful. Of course, if they really want to win a championship and get to that next level, I do think that they would have to do away with CJ McCollum, but I guess that's a story for another day. But regardless, I think that you might say that I'm counting them out again because I have them as low as 6, but it's just that, like I said, with this Western Conference, there's just so many good teams. I just think that there's 5 teams better than the Blazers. Looking at the depth chart, I'm going to count Jusuf Nurkic out since he won't be playing most of the season. That's obviously a huge blow for the Blazers as they miss out on his offense and defense, but Whiteside should provide some decent defense as well. Bazemore is a minor upgrade from Evan Turner, and Anthony Tolliver will be good for a few 3-pointers, but they're pretty weak at that power forward position. Here's the good. Lillard just gets better and better every year, and I do think he'll continue to carry this team to possibly the second round this postseason. CJ McCollum is still a good scorer, good second man to Lillard, and they do have some upside and potential with their bench in Hood, Hazonia, and Little. The bad is I'm counting them out again. They're good. They're a good team. Their roster doesn't seem complete enough. With Nurkic out, I just think it's a huge blow, and they don't have enough weapons to really repeat that magic from last season. Coming in at 5th place, I have the Golden State Warriors. Everyone wants to write the Warriors off, and while I don't think they'll be that dominant top 3 seed that they've been for years, they should definitely still find themselves in the playoffs. With Klay out for most of the season, the Warriors will heavily rely on Curry to carry the load, as well as the new addition in D'Angelo Russell. I'm still not quite sure how Russell will fit with this system and this Warriors team, but nonetheless, he's an exciting young talent. I'm purposely leaving Klay out of the rotation here, but their depth is not very good. Cauley-Stein was certainly a good pickup who would make for the best center the Warriors have had in years, not counting Cousins, and D'Lo is obviously an all-star. However, their bench is pretty shitty. No Iggy or Sean Livingston is detrimental to their experience, leadership, and chemistry, and losing KD, that's just always going to suck. The good is that the Warriors are still the Warriors. Many are projecting Curry to have the best season he's had in years since his second MVP season, and Draymond also looks to bounce back to that elite level that he became known for. The bad is that their bench is god-awful. It's really not good. Kevon Looney is the only member of the team that remains there from the bench, and it's just, Alfonso McKinney's going to have to play a lot of minutes at the small forward, and that's not really that great of a choice. And if Curry, gets injured or misses any time, the Warriors could be in some trouble. Next up at 4th in the Western Conference, I have the Houston Rockets. A lot of people are questioning how good the Rockets really could be this season, and they're not wrong for that, okay? Westbrook and Harden's style of play doesn't really seem like it can mesh that well together, but these are superstars that have great chemistry, they're good friends. I have faith. Houston actually has a lot of players to work with, but as usual, they'll have a 7 to 8 man rotation. It's not certain who's going to start at the 3, whether they elect Gordon or Green or even someone else, but Cephalosha seems like the best fit of defense and 3-point shooting. Ryan Anderson's back, which I don't really think means anything, but he's back, so I'm just telling you. I like Tyson Chandler as a backup and Ben McLemore in limited minutes. I think they could provide the Rockets, those extra minutes that are needed when D'Antoni burns his starters into the ground. All in all, the good is that Harden is a madman and Westbrook is as well, just kind of in a different way. They're really good friends. I'm sure they're going to be able to figure this thing out, make it work, and if it does, it's going to be very scary and be a lot better than when they had Chris Paul. The bad is that it could wind up like that time. Well, not as bad, but certainly kind of similar to that time the Rockets traded for Ty Lawson. Yeah, this is a Ty Lawson jersey, not an Allen Iverson Nuggets jersey. This is a Ty Lawson jersey, okay? I liked him. He was a good player. No one talks about him. He was good. He was criminally underrated. Yeah, he was drunk. And he was terrible on the Rockets, and then he just kind of played himself out of the NBA. But the point I'm trying to say is that, it might just be too many cooks in the kitchen. It might lead to some chemistry issues and make just for a bad season. It's Lawson, okay? I didn't know if you didn't believe me, but can you see it? I don't know which is, I can't tell if this... Finishing as the 3rd seed, I've got a bit of a controversial pick, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers. A lot of people want to put them at the very top, and, I can't totally disagree with that. I do think they're going to be a great team. Yo, what's up, man?
Yo, are you busy?
Let me just put you on speakerphone. Oh, you're on speaker. What's good?
I was just gonna ask you questions about fantasy.
Oh, about fantasy? Yeah, go ahead, dude. I'm all ears.
Okay.
I'm all eyes, too. I'm looking.
Alright.
I'm all nose. I'm smelling.
Alright, well, that was all I had to ask you.
Yeah, I was in the middle of recording, so this might wind up in my next video.
Oh, shit.
If it's funny, maybe it won't be funny, it'd probably be like, ew, get that out of there, you're wasting time. Okay, I don't remember where I was. The Lakers, they're going to be good. I just think that the other teams that I haven't mentioned are going to be better. But let's just go to the depth chart. Oh, yeah, one other thing I wanted to mention real quick is just that, just because there's teams that I have finishing at a higher seed doesn't mean they'll get further in the playoffs. They'll just have better regular season records. So just wanted to throw that out there. Now let's talk about that lineup. It's obviously going to change probably a million times. They apparently seem set on a starting lineup without Kuzma, which I guess makes sense, but like I said, this rotation is going to be different for at least a month before they really figure it out. It's a shame DeMarcus went down again because, it's still crazy to me that a little over 2 years ago, he was the best center in the league. Dwight, I think, will finally be good for a team for the first time in years. If he does his job and doesn't get in the way, he could average something like 10 points, 10 rebounds, and almost 2 blocks per game. Having JaVale also really helps, and just their whole bench is comprised of veterans and players that are just, they know what it takes to compete. The good is that I didn't even mention they have Anthony fucking Davis, okay? They still have LeBron, of course, who I still think is the best player in the league, and just their whole roster around them is pretty adept. They should be in a good position this year. The bad is that Davis is a walking injury. Dwight is a walking injury. LeBron just had his first major injury last season. DeMarcus Cousins is obviously out for the whole year. So, I just think that for this team, age and injury could be a huge concern. At second place in the West, I've got the Denver Nuggets. They were second place last year, so I don't understand why they wouldn't be able to be there again while continuing to improve. Jokic is still, only like 24, maybe even younger, and Murray is also very young. This is their core that is still, developing and getting older. They're not close to their best yet, I don't think, which is scary because Jokic is already like one of the top 10 players in the league. They have a very fantastic group of role players around those two and players that could, bud even to something even crazier. Just the pieces they have around Murray and Jokic are really great, and they even added Jeremy Grant, who will provide a good two-way presence. Just look how deep this team is. The third-string players are even really strong. MPJ should finally play, and honestly, could find himself into the starting lineup, especially if he plays the way that we all, expected him to when he first got out of high school. Bol is also, barring injury, a rookie that could help the Nuggets defensively. All in all, this team is just stacked. Here's the good. It's the same team plus greater potential. They're going to continue to be really good with Mike Malone leading the way as a potential Coach of the Year candidate. The bad is that they don't have another superstar other than Jokic when practically every other team that's competing does. Jamal Murray has the potential to be like a really good all-star caliber player, so if he could do that, that would be great. But if he kind of stays at the level he's at, which is good, it just might not be enough to help the Nuggets get further. And last but not least, as the first seed in the West, I've got the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm feeding more so into the Clipper hype than the Laker hype, even though I do think that the Lakers have the better superstar duo. The Clippers are obviously set to compete. Kawhi is the reigning Finals MVP, Paul George was a top 3 MVP candidate last year, and Lou Williams was the 6th man of the year. That doesn't even take into account the caliber of coaching that Doc Rivers brings to the table as a possible Coach of the Year winner this season, and just the rest of the roster that is really nice. Montrezl Harrell was also competing for 6th man of the year last year, and he will be a very good two-way player for the team. Patrick Beverley is one of the league's best defenders and hustle players. Landry Shamet has a lot of potential as maybe even more than a 3-and-D player, and they have a plethora of frontcourt players that can provide them some good minutes. Maybe George starts at the 2 some games, maybe Kawhi at the 3, but it really seems like positionless basketball with this squad. They just have so many more clutch shooters and players that could close out games, from Kawhi Leonard to Paul George to Lou Williams, and they just have a complete roster. It's hard for me to bet against such a superstar duo with also very competent defense and defensive stars as well. Sorry, I gotta look at my notes. I'm on a time constriction, so let me just get this shit going so I don't, fuck up. They're more complete than the Lakers, in my opinion, and they have more experience than the Nuggets, but are superstars than the Nuggets. They'll be the first seed. That's the good. The bad is that PG is missing the first month and he could re-injure himself. Kawhi is also kind of injury prone, so hopefully those two could stay on the court. If not, I think they should still be in good shape regardless. Maybe not for the first seed, but they'll still be very dominant. So that's the bad. That's all my predictions. Do you guys agree? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. Seriously, smash the like button. I said I'm on a time constriction. Just smash it. Smash the like button. Cue the music. I'm on a time constriction.